Hi friends, I am back to read the next chapter of Ungifted. And this is one of the last chapters. Look how much we have left. It's really exciting because last time we heard from Donnie and he took over the robotics meet and he had the controller and he actually destroyed the other robot that was winning. So a lot of people were mad at him, but all of a sudden his sister screamed that she was having the baby. So I don't know what's gonna happen. We'll have to read it. This is called Unexpected by Chloe Garfinkel. Hypothesis. The speed of the drive is directly proportional to the acuteness of the crisis. The yellow minibus squealed up to the emergency entrance of St. Leo Medical Center, and the disqualified Academy robotics team piled out, bearing Katie Patterson with us. While Oz and Donovan handled the patient registration, Katie and the rest of us lay on the waiting room carpet, practicing Noah's breathing technique. Don't worry, Katie assured the two bewildered Daniels. This pregnancy is a group effort. Cool, said the taller one, but he looked a little unnerved. A door swung open and an orderly appeared, pushing a wheelchair. Mrs. Patterson, he gawked at us on the floor. What's going on down there? It's okay, Lateral told him. We're the birthing team. We only do robotics in our spare time, Noah explained. Katie was loaded onto the chair and brought to a case room. We followed every last one of us. The staff wasn't too keen on that, but they had no choice. We were all her coaches, except for the Daniels, and they kept their mouths shut for a change. I'd never seen them behave so well before. We were in there forever, breathing and timing contractions with our robotic stopwatches. We studied the final sonogram and kept a close eye on the fetal heart monitor that Katie wore. Everything was fine, but Donovan seemed really scared, even more than his sister, and she was the one having a baby. He spent most of the time on the phone, trying to locate his parents to let them know what was going on. We all took turns calling home to inform our families that this robotics meet was going on a lot longer than usual. Finally, the doctor decided it was time to take this patient into delivery. As the brother, Donovan went too. The rest of us congregated in the waiting room to, wait. You could tell the two Daniels were pretty cowed by the whole adventure. So, is this like business as usual for the gifted program? The taller one asked. I mean, do you do this kind of stuff a lot? Oz favored him with an exhausted chuckle. You mean trash robots at a meet and have a baby? No, it's fair to say that this is a big day, even for us. What's going to happen to us? Abigail wondered anxiously. Do you think we might be banned from future competitions? Oz shrugged miserably. I don't know. Interfering with another robot is a very serious offense. There were bound to be consequences. It was worth it, the shorter Daniel exploded. I've known Donovan since first grade, and that was him at his best. Real gladiator stuff. It was WWE, Noah amended. You were great there too, kid, the other Daniel assured him. Mess with you and pay the price. I learned the hard way. I spoke up. What Donovan did was against the rules, but it was right. Cold Spring Harbor interfered with our robot before we interfered with theirs. Our teacher sighed. That's assuming the judges noticed. If they didn't, they'll see the attack as unprovoked. But effective, Noah put in. Kevin rubbed his hands together. It was beautiful to see that tin pot with a big dent in it. I was hoping the arm would fall off, Lateral added wistfully. Well, they definitely didn't deserve to win, Abigail said reluctantly, even if that means we can't win either. JC opened her mouth to speak, and I braced for one of her random odd facts. Instead, she said softly, but with conviction, way to go, Donovan. It hit me just then how different we all were since Donovan was mistakenly sent to the academy. The mayhem that had ended the robotics meet would have freaked us all out about a few weeks ago. Now we were gloating over having destroyed our enemy. If Oz had hoped Donovan would become more like us, here was proof that the opposite was true. We had become more like Donovan. I love my school, but I'd always yearned for us to be a little bit more normal. Hypothesis. Today, we finally got there. We'd been cooling our heels for about an hour when Dr. Schultz came into the waiting room. The superintendent's hair was wild, his tie undone, his normally immaculate suit rumpled. Spying us, he rushed over. Any news? Nothing yet, Oz informed him. He looked frazzled. I've got your robot in the trunk of my car, but the rest of your equipment is in the storage room at the auditorium, all except the ukulele. That got spilled out in the confusion. What did the judges finally decide? Asked Oz, and I could tell he wasn't sure he wanted to hear the answer. You were disqualified, and so was Cold Spring Harbor, the superintendent reported. Orchard Park were the winners, but I don't think that means much this year. The whole thing was a major fiasco. This is supposed to be a friendly science competition, not a gang rumble. Are we in really big trouble? Abigail asked in a small voice. I'm honestly not sure, replied Dr. Schultz. I inquired several times, but no one would give me a straight answer. The judges have never dealt with this kind of misconduct before. That might work in our favor. We should probably keep a low profile in the Robotics Association for a while, Oz suggested, and we all chimed in our agreement. Low profile or not, this was one robotics meet I'd never forget. The image of Donovan working the joystick, exacting Tin Man's revenge, would forever be burned into the inside of my eyelids. I'll bet the others, even Abigail, felt the same way. Hypothesis. To take a robot designed to place rings on pegs and to turn it into an instrument of destruction requires a kind of giftedness that none of us have. It was then that the heavy swinging door flung wide and Donovan staggered out of the waiting room, wide-eyed and white-faced. He was quite a sight in green scrubs and surgical cap. It happened, he rasped. And? I prompted eagerly. It's a girl, he managed. Katie had a baby girl. The waiting room erupted in cheers, and we mobbed him with backslaps and congratulations. Hypothesis? Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Okay, that wasn't a hypothesis. It was just awesome. Dude, you're an uncle, the taller Daniel exclaimed. You did it. Katie did it, I amended. I threw my arms around Donovan and gave him a big hug. He seemed startled, and I admit it was a little closer than any of the others got, but I was just so happy for Katie. I knew the day Donovan stepped into the robotics lab that there would be great things ahead, and this was the greatest of them all. Donovan worked his way through the well-wishers and nearly jumped out of his scrubs at the sight of Dr. Schultz. You can't blame Donovan. I jumped in. Cold Spring Harbor started it. The entire team burst into a babbling description of how our opponents deliberately knocked the ring out of Tin Man's control. I couldn't let them beat us, Donovan finished. Not that way. I don't appreciate the rule breaking, the superintendent said gravely. School spirit, however, is something I appreciate very much. Whatever else you are, Donovan Curtis, you're a loyal teammate, he smiled. And please pass on my congratulations to your sister, her husband, and their new daughter. Wait a minute, Noah's brows furrowed. It can't be a daughter. The sonogram clearly showed a boy. Oz laughed. Well, I guess you were wrong about that. The look on Noah's face as he took in the enormity of that statement was sheer wonder. Wrong? He repeated, dazed. I was wrong. It's no big deal, Noah, I told him gently. It's a colossal deal. I'm never wrong. All at once, his normally serious expression dissolved into a large, goofy grin. This is the greatest moment of my life. Maybe if you got really lucky, you can be wrong again someday, Donovan teased. Noah considered this. I'll work on it in summer school. No, you won't. Oz was jubilant. This class was short, 14 hours of human growth and development instruction. But remember, real life experience counts as triple time. I snapped to attention. We've been with Katie 4 hours already. One more hour and a flicker of hope animated Abigail's features. No summer school? Dr. Oz smiled. Perhaps some good has actually come of this horrendous experience. I will personally sign your credit. But we have to put in a final hour, Oz added. I wouldn't leave anyway, I announced. Not till I've seen our baby. Hypothesis. Maybe the human growth and development requirement isn't so pointless after all. All right, we're going to pause right there. Chloe was the one that was telling the story, so it was from her perspective. Since we've been talking a lot about perspectives this week, I want you to think about if this whole chapter, if this whole baby chapter was said or described by Donovan, the one that was in the room with Katie, how do you think things would be different? Do you think that he would give a little bit more emotion when the baby was born, or do you think he would have different things to say to us? I'm not sure. That's for you to think about, and would love to hear your answers if you comment below or comment on our Google Classroom page. Bye, friends.